Tapping into your heart actually winds up with a higher vibration and a higher magnetic force. So we know that the human heart, actually the magnetic force of the human heart goes for 8 miles. So if you're not jumping off the ledge and getting into a life that you love and moving to where you want to move to, well, then what are you doing? Because this is what we need to do. This is what is important. Because if you're not giggling in your life, it's time to shift it. And I promise you, the money always shows up. Now, I will tell you, it never comes in the exact same package that you think. Ever. Never, ever, ever. But this is where you have to start to trust. This is where you have to start to have faith. Woo! We need to jump, ladies and gentlemen. We need to jump. We need to jump into a life that we absolutely love, which is why I decided to play jump this morning when I'm taping this video, because we need to jump. We need to take the leap. We need to find our courage and our strength inside of ourselves to jump into a life that we absolutely love. Just like the song. It's like, come on, jump, jump. We need to jump. Okay, what do I mean by that? And how does this relate to financials? See, you can just do something as easy as listen to a song to get you into the energetic vibration to do something that you want to do in your life. And I'm here to talk to you about how to take that leap, because most of us don't take that leap because financially we have no idea how to do that in our lives. And I'm here to tell you that there's always a way. Absolutely always a way. And I was reminded of this when I was working with a client this past week, because I've helped so many people jump off the ledge into life that they have, to the life that they want, that I know it can happen no matter what your circumstances are. You just have to decide to do it. It's all up here. This is the block. So as we jump through this today, I want you to hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell. Why? Because I'm absolutely going to help you get to a life that you love. Okay, so let's talk about jumping off this ledge. So when we talk about financials, we talk about all, some of us are responsible with money and some of us are recluses with our money and some of us are somewhere in between. So a lot of us are in many different places, but we've played these roles in our life. You're a daughter, you're a son, you're a sibling, you're a spouse, you're a girlfriend, you're a boyfriend, whatever that role is. We get into those grooves and then it's like, oh, we're kind of in this groove and we can't do this because of this, and we can't do this because of this, and we can't do that because of that. And then you add the cash flows on top of it. So many people have not created the cash flow space to be able to jump. But I'm here to tell you that the money is actually the result of how you've shown up in the world. It's not get the money first and then jump. It's like jump and then the money all shows up. I have one of my videos on here where a woman who actually decided to buy a mountain. I know, right? And she went and left suburbia in Denver and went and I'll put the link below so you can check out Lives That Thrive. I've brought people onto my YouTube channel to talk about how their life is thriving because they chose to jump. They chose to take a leap. And I was talking about this. I have these other clients that they are the epitome of being adventurous in their life. And they've done it. They've raised their kids and been in the suburbs. But I was communicating to this other client saying, you need to talk to these guys because they jump no matter what. They're having fun. They are living life. The challenge is so many of us are not living our lives. And you may or may not be that risk taker that you're okay with it. You may be in this place where you're like, oh, well, I'm not really sure because I have kids and I have this and that. Every time I talk to people, it's always about, well, I have to do the responsible thing for my kids' education. And I have to do this for my spouse. And, my mom is here. And this is the conversation I was in this past week with a client. And I was like, you know what? Got to jump. And so how do you create those support systems to jump? So I had another someone that I was working with a couple of years ago and actually went to college with him. And the whole family was sitting there going, well, you can't go. And so they were trying to negotiate away, and they had bought a place in the suburbs, not in the city, because, God, they went to the city and, you're not supposed to go in the city. You're supposed to stay in the suburbs and raise your kids. And, there's all these stories that we tell ourselves. And I asked them, well, why are you calling me? And they said, because we know you'll tell us that we can do it, and we just need to satisfy our left linear brains and figure out how, so financially then we can. So we just did a brainstorming session. I'm like, okay, well, what's important to you? And so we started mapping out. They've been in the place that they love now for a couple of years, and they're growing and expanding and getting pay raises, and their kids adjusted just fine. So many of the stories are just in our head of how it's going to turn out. And it's just like I was reiterating to this other client this week, that I was like, you have no idea how happy and how well-rounded your children are going to be when you choose what makes your heart giggle. And she's like, well, how do I giggle with the bills coming in the mail? Well, how do you giggle when the bills come in the mail? Well, we come up with a plan. We come up with a plan on how to do that. It's like I've given so many people that I've worked with the assignment. If you think you don't love where you live, well, let's take the next year or so, and every time you go out of town, choose a place that you might consider going to. And this is no different than the client that I had most recently. And it was interesting what they thought they wanted. Once they went there on vacation, they're kind of like, well, this part was good and this part was good. And I go, and they are trying to like, well, I guess that could work out. Like, this is what we do, because we've made all these decisions from this left brain of ours. And it's really important for us to go, okay, this left brain has a purpose, and this left brain has really great analytical skills, but the right brain, and which is connected to the heart more so, like we have to get that integration between our heart and our head. It's called coherence. And there's great videos on it on Greg Braden's channel, or Heart Math. They're the scientists behind this concept called coherence, and scientifically how our bodies actually physically work from that perspective. So if you need some of that more science proof to satisfy that left linear brain, go to Heart Math or Greg Braden's YouTube channels, because they've got the research. And what it is that tapping into your heart actually winds up with a higher vibration and a higher magnetic force. So we know that the human heart, actually the magnetic force of the human heart goes for 8 miles. So if you're not jumping off the ledge and getting into a life that you love and moving to where you want to move to, well, then what are you doing? Because this is what we need to do. This is what is important. Because if you're not giggling in your life, it's time to shift it. And I promise you, the money always shows up. Now, I will tell you, it never comes in the exact same package that you think. Ever. Never, ever, ever. But this is where you have to start to trust. This is where you have to start to have faith in the fact that when you are sitting there dreaming the new dream, which in my book, Awaken Your Wealth, is the most important step of the process, because you cannot interrupt what you've already created if you don't dream the new dream. And tap into that heart, tap into that giggle, tap into that thing that is going to expand and grow. Be the next adventurist of your life, because you're living it. So why not always have it be something that you love? And we have to find that internal courage that just goes, here I go. I don't know how, I don't know what, but I'm going to start to see the intentions. Now, some of you may need a longer bridge. I have other videos that I talk about how you have to keep a safe container for yourself. Your timing and how you need to do things is absolutely perfect for you. And why do we think that that's so wrong? We think that if we're not measuring up to anything outside of ourselves, or doing it quick enough, or doing it fast enough, or I don't have enough money, and blah, 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 just reinforcing our not enough and our not worthy button, that activates our nervous systems. You cannot manifest and jump off the ledge if you're creating a hijacked nervous system. So your safe container, you might jump off, 3 steps down the staircase. That's your first jump. But then the next one's you're jumping down the whole staircase. And then the next one is you're jumping a couple flights. And then the next one, you're actually then moving out of town and moving to the place that you love, as an example. And that's okay if that's the way you have to build the muscle. There's absolutely no right or wrong here. There's no manual. It's just about what makes you giggle in that moment, because here's what I know to be true. The minute I send somebody as an assignment, and this is in your financial plan, when I give clients an action plan, I absolutely get them to a place where I'm like, okay, I need you to go, when I give them the assignment, to go on vacation over these next year and a half and go find these places. It cracks you open. Think of it like an egg. It just cracks. This is why I put an egg that has a crack on it on the front of my cover of my book, Awaken Your Wealth. Because you're the golden egg. You just need to crack yourself open and choose you. Choose what you love. Choose what you want to do while holding a safe container, because the minute you crack it open, you're going, ooh, that wasn't so bad. Ooh, I'm glad I got through that. And then you breathe through it, because then you're like, oh my goodness, I want a little bit more of that. I want a little bit more of that. Why do I want a little bit more of that? Well, because that felt good and I want to do more of that. Think of it like having sex for the first time. You're like, I actually said this to a client this week. And I go, okay, I'm just going to say this, but it's kind of like having sex for the first time. You're going, because he was in his head and he was thinking, and he's like, well, I got to reflect on this and I got to think about this. And I go, did you think about it that much when you chose your bride or when you decided to hop in the sack with her the first time and have sex? And he just started laughing. He goes, no, I didn't think at all. And I go, exactly. This is how we need to approach jumping off the ledge. Because I said, and I walked him through. I go, well, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, I just knew it was the right thing. I go, this is the way it can be for your job. This is the way it can be for where you want to live. This could be for how you want to raise your children, even if it's so out of the box compared to the way everybody else has done it, the way that, maybe you're supposed to be the leader in your family to show them how to find their freedom and to show them how to find pure joy, pure happiness in life, what I call embodying real wealth. I talk about the fact that people are poor, debtors, dreamers, accumulators, rich but empty. And then there's real wealth in any one of those categories. This is not a linear line. You don't need to go from poor to being a debtor. No, you can jump from here all the way to embody real wealth. Completely embody real wealth. And that's about finding the joy and happiness every single day. And that's following your giggle, because it's like having sex for the first time. Once you do it, you're kind of like, okay, that was a little awkward, but gosh, I really kind of like that. And I kind of want a little bit more. And you kind of go, oh, and then you crack a little bit more open as an egg. So I'm going to challenge all of you to jump this week, to jump into something that just going to make you giggle a little bit more, that is about what you want to create tomorrow, because I'm telling you, it's going to crack you open and you're going to want some more, and you're going to figure out how to take a bigger leap. And don't forget, if you need some help along the way, go to juliemurphy.com. Every quarter, I'm opening up an online coaching program, group coaching program. And don't forget my book, Awaken Your Wealth book.com. You can get my book for free. You just have to pay for your own shipping. I look forward to helping you guys along the way. And don't forget, hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell. And could you do me a favor? Could you share it? Because let's raise the vibe for everybody. If you can share this link, I would greatly appreciate it, because let's do this together. Let's raise the roof and do it together. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.